Hi Summit, right here we have a double-breasted blazer dress with a stylish neckline. If this looks like what you like to learn, then watch this video to the end. My name is Veronica Adams Eze. Welcome to Vera Adams YouTube channel. Without wasting time, let's get started. Here's the pattern paper that we're going to be working with. I have length 35 inches. And right here from the starting point, I'm going to go ahead to mark 4.5 inches. Right from the top to the bottom of the pattern paper. Once this is done, I'll go ahead to connect these points together to form a straight line. At this point, I can go ahead to start taking the measurements. And I'll start taking the measurements right from where the 4.5 inches stopped. On the starting line, I'm measuring 7.5 inches for the shoulder measurement. Then right here, I'm measuring from the shoulder to the bust point, that is 10 inches. Shoulder to under bust, 13 inches. From the shoulder to the waistline is 16 inches. Shoulder to the hip line is 24 inches. I'll go ahead and make horizontal lines out of these points, just as you're seeing me doing right here. So right here is the bust line, under bust line, waistline, hip line. Sorry, you can't see that. I'll mark 2 inches above the bust line, which will represent the chest line. Right here, I'm going ahead to mark back the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 inches. I'll also go ahead to mark horizontal line, and this would represent the chest line. I'll then go ahead to connect this line to meet the starting point, just as you see me doing here. And then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then I'll go ahead to mark 3 inches for the neck width and connect it just as you see me doing here. To get the armhole curve, I'm going to divide what I have on the armhole line into 2. Then come in by 1/2 inch. I'll bring in my ruler and go ahead to connect this together. If you're not new to my channel, you already know how to do this. Moving on, I'll go ahead to take the body measurement, and I'll start on the chest line and take a quarter of the bust bar measurement, that is 9 inches. Then right here, I'm starting on the waistline to mark 4 inches, which represents the nipple to nipple. I'm also going ahead to mark it on the bust line, and I also move downwards to mark it on the hip line as well. I'll go ahead and connect these 3 points together with the help of my ruler. Once that is done, I will go up by 2 inches away from the hip line, and then come down by 1 inch away from the bust line. So then on each side on the waistline, I'm going to take 0.75 inches, making a total of 1.5 inches, and I'll go ahead and connect. This would form the dart. I'll go ahead and use my marker pen to highlight this point out so that it becomes more visible. So at this point, I've already gone ahead to take the other body measurement. So here it is, I'm connecting it down to the hem line using my marker pen so that it becomes more visible. Since that is done, I'll move ahead to the waistline, and I'll go ahead to extend the waistline to meet that 4.5 extension that we made earlier. But I decided that I only wanted to use 3.5 inches out of that 4.5 inches extension. So right here, I'm marking 3.5 inches right from the waistline down to the hem. And I'll go ahead to connect these points together with the help of my ruler. Right here, I'm going ahead to also extend the bust line right into the 4.5 extension, and I'll also go ahead and mark 3.5 inches. Right here on the shoulder line, I'll go ahead to mark 3.5 inches. And coming down to the armhole area at this point, I'm going to go ahead to mark 1.5 inches right there and connect it right into the neck width, just as you're seeing me doing right here. At this point, I'm going to determine the width I want for this point, and I'm marking 1.5 inches right here. So from that point, I'm going to go up by 0.25 inches and make a mark right there, and then connect it together just the way that you're seeing me doing right here, because I don't want that part straight. That's why I came in by 0.25 inches. So right from that point, I'm going to connect it right to the bust line. You can as well go below the bust line or above, but I'm actually following the inspiration. So if you don't want it to reveal so much, you can stop above the bust line, and if you really want it so revealing, you can go below. Depends on what you want. I realized that the width that 1.5 was too much, so I decided to reduce it a bit, and which is what I'm doing right here. So I took away the 0.25 inches. Right at this point, I'm going down by 0.25 inches as well, and I'll make a mark right there and also connect it together. And I'm doing that because I want the perfect shape. I don't want it so straight, I want it really slanted. At this point, I'll go ahead to bring in my marker pen and trace the actual neckline that we want, ignoring the initial one, so that we don't get confused. So now what's next to do is to connect this neckline to meet the underbust area. So I'm going to use that slightly curved part of my ruler to connect it right to meet the extension at the underbust area, just as you're seeing me doing. Please note that you don't have to make this part curve. You can decide to maintain the straight shape. And if you were wondering how to cut the back, just cut it exactly like this, just that there'll be no extension, so you cut it straight out in this form. And do not cut the neckline like the front, just do a small neckline at the back, just as the one I'm illustrating right here. Also, the armhole for the front is different from that of the back. So right at this point, I'll go ahead and start cutting out, and I'll start from the bottom right to the top. If you found this video useful, do well to give it a thumbs up by clicking on the like button. If this is your first time here on this channel, do well to subscribe to this channel and be a part of this family. So right at this point, I'm done cutting. I'll go ahead to cut another piece so that you see what it looks like. So here it is. I have two pieces of this right here. If you found this video useful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.